Hello and welcome back to Automotive Tales. I am abroad, which means I have a hire car. When I have a hire car, that means I'm going to do a little bit of a review. So join me as we look around this Hyundai Venue.
Whatever that is.
So those of you in the video in the UK might not be familiar with the Hyundai or Hyundai Venue because I don't think it's a platform we get in the UK. Obviously, you'd be familiar with the brand. I believe they are available in Europe, but primarily they're an Asian sold car and they seem to be sold here in North America. In Canada, the Hyundai seem to be one of the most popular brands on the road, believe it or not. So there's a whole range of cars from this, which is the entry-level SUV. The Venue is a tiny little car. There's the Elantra, the Kona, the the Ioniq range, and a few of the old ones that I've not seen anywhere in the UK or Europe. But the Venue is the entry-level model and it is a micro SUV. So I guess technically it's a mini SUV, but I'm calling it a micro SUV because here in Canada, there is quite a range. So we have seen, I've seen a Nissan Micra, I've seen few Fiat 500s, right the way up to the Ford F350 Super Duties, which are vast. I mean, the bonnets are like up to here, which is a bit terrifying. Not really ideal when we've been driving all the way across Canada. So we've done nearly 2,000 miles in this little car. And I'm going to tell you what it's like driving it around town and long distance. So as you can see on shaky cam here, because I haven't got any equipment with me, it is a properly tiny, boxy little SUV. It's kind of cutesy, although it does get dwarfed by everything. The one great thing about driving a small vehicle here in Canada is, well, the parking spaces are vast, which means there's never a problem parking this little thing. So what, you may ask, powers this tiny little beast? Well, in the North American market, it is just this single engine. It is a 1.6 petrol. With 121 brake horsepower, and interestingly it comes with not a manual gearbox, not an automatic gearbox, but it comes with a CVT. I have just noticed this, I guess this little plastic engine cover has got fake carbon fibre moulded into the plastic. That's really natty. And there appears to be 8 connectors on here and 8 fuel injectors. Not because it's 8 cylinders, but it appears to have 2 injectors per cylinder. Presumably it can then turn injectors on and off and do some interesting things with sort of swirling patterns of the fuel into the cylinder, which helps with efficiency. And efficient this little thing is. So we've averaged about 50 miles to the gallon while we've been hoofing up and down the interstate here. The speed limit in Canada is a lot lower than it is in the UK and Europe. So most highways are 100 kilometers an hour because everything's in kilometers here, not miles. So that's what, 60 miles an hour, give or take. Some of them are 110, so sort of 65-ish. So that probably helps with the fuel economy. It also helps, this has, I guess it's technically, it's a 7-speed intelligent variable transmission rather than a proper CVT. So sometimes it sort of acts a bit like an automatic. Sometimes it sounds like it's a CVT. The revs go up and then it just accelerates as the revs stay the same. Or in some cases, it will accelerate as the revs come down, which is very unusual. I don't know what it revs out to because there isn't really a proper rev counter. It just has a thing that tells you what RPM it's doing, and that's the lot. But it drives okay. It's not particularly quick. All it does in sport mode is just makes the throttle more responsive, so that, you know, you push it half as far for twice as much acceleration. But it doesn't actually really go any faster at all. But then that's not what it's really designed for. We've been doing kind of long interstate driving, which is not the home of this car. And it's a bit twitchy at high speeds, especially on roads that have got sort of divots from trucks and things, and it will tramline a little bit. And it has very interfering like lane assist, which I haven't figured out how to turn off. But I suspect that's the same with all modern cars. So that's not a problem with this little thing itself. But around town, it is very sprightly. So that the IVT, CVT automatic combo gearbox that it's got does mean it actually is quite punchy off the line. It gives you lots and lots of torque. It obviously picks the optimum torque range for this little 1.6 litre petrol, and zip off the line you go, which is great. So it's good when you're a tourist and you're not always in the right lane, so you need to zip out in front of people. But otherwise, it sort of drives okay. It's relatively comfortable. I haven't quite got the seats in the position that I want them, but there's plenty of adjustment. So I think if I fiddled with it enough, I'd eventually get there. So spec-wise, it's fairly basic. It has your usual Android Auto Apple CarPlay thing, which is quite useful. Lots of steering wheel controls. The one thing I do like about this car is there are a lot of buttons, so you can control all the basic stuff you want without having to go into any infotainment system. It's purely just for basically CarPlay and then vehicle settings. So I've got a hazard button down here, which is standard on all cars, but I've also got AC controls, temperature controls, volume control, lots of other bits and pieces. I've got controls for the heated seats, heated steering wheel. I can set the different drive modes, eco, regular, sport, which, as I said before, all it does is seem to change the responsiveness of the throttle pedal. And then things like the cruise control and voice activation can answer and reject calls from the steering wheel on physical buttons, which is really, really nice, and quite a rarity in modern cars, albeit this platform is a few years old. So I think this car came out in 2019, so it's a 5-6-year-old platform here in North America. So it doesn't surprise me, it still has quite a lot of buttons, but I definitely like that. I consider that a feature, not a limitation of the car. Space-wise, it's actually not so bad for being what I'm terming a micro SUV. So we have a giant suitcase, which is in the boot behind me. I'll insert a bit of that, and my rucksack is stuffed alongside. So that was very impressive. I was concerned we were going to have to put the seats flat, which means we wouldn't be able to conceal stuff when we were out and about. And I am now sat in the back seat. So this is a proper 5-door SUV. And the seat is pretty far back in the driving position for me, and I'm sat behind the driver's seat, and I'm quite comfortable. I have sufficient leg room and loads of headroom, which is great. So all in all, while it is a very small car on the big Canadian roads, I do quite like this little Venue. It is compact, it is basic, it's functional, it does everything we've asked of it with aplomb, and I presume being an entry level in the Hyundai range, it's probably very affordable. I don't know what the prices are like here. I don't obviously have a UK price for these, but I'm going to guess it's going to be pretty entry level in the sort of teens of thousands of pounds. So Mrs. Automotive Tales, keen on the Google, has found that in Canada, this particular model is 22,000 Canadian dollars. A few moments later. Which I very quickly calculated in my head right this second is £11,763.07. I definitely did that in my head. So yeah, all in all, I think it's quite good. Now, Mrs. Automotive Tales, who's been suffering while I talk to camera all of this time, what do you think about this little thing? You've had to passenger princess for the last 1,500 miles. It's
perfectly adequate as passenger princess, although I would say it could do with bigger cup holders.
There you go, perfectly adequate. She said that before, but bigger cup holders, Hyundai, there you go. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, little car. You have been extremely handy to us. Apologies for taking you down a dirt road and getting you filthy.